What a pleasure. Always fun to speak to this man. In my opinion, coming off two really impressive performances. Didn't get the W officially, but I think it's been an incredible year for him. It is the double dragon, the double champion, Mason Jones. Mason, how are you, my friend? Great to speak to you. Look, in a greenhouse there. Absolutely stunning scenes there in the valleys in Wales. What's happening, my man? Great to speak to you.
Thank you for having me on. It's nice, to be fair. I come from the sunshine in California, to the sunshine in Vegas, and then back to the sunshine in Glenavon. So it's nice. Like to be fair, it's always nice to come home, but I'm itching to get back into camp and itching to get another fight. Like I said, I still haven't got my first win yet in the UFC. I'm 0-1, and so I mean I'm gonna look like a fence post by the end of this year. I'm gonna be 1-1-1.
That's where I want to start, Mason. You know, I said to you off air there a few moments ago that you know, it doesn't feel like you haven't got a win. You know, the Mike Davis fight could have gone either way. Obviously, Alan Patrick, you know, you were absolutely coasting in that fight. I think the first was a 10-8, and I think everyone, you know, including yourself, we knew you were going to finish him until that unfortunate eye poke incident happened. What are the emotions? What does it feel like? Because I think people looking on, and even if you listen to the commentary a couple of weeks ago in your fight against Alan Patrick, like Michael Bisping was even saying, this guy's a future world champion. What are the emotions for you? Because you actually haven't officially got that first W in the UFC.
I wish I'd poked him in the eye properly. I mean, it irritated me because like we went into that fight. I felt so good. We had a hard weight cut, but I recovered really well. I felt unbelievable warming up. And then the first round, it literally felt like I was still in first gear. Like I was coasting through it. I was keeping smart pressure. I wasn't rushing too much. Like we spoke afterwards, and after we watched it back, like my corner said, like obviously we could have pushed with a bit more intensity, but he's still strong. We knew he was going to gas later on, so I did the right thing. And like I broke him in round one, and round two he didn't even want to answer the bell, Eddie. So for me to put it straight back on him, he was in a bad place. And obviously, like my view on it is, and as someone who was in there, like obviously the eye poke looked bad on the outside, but like when we watched it back on me being in there, like I didn't think I caught him properly. Like he had a closed eye when I went, and I caught him with it. And like I said, I just think he was looking for a way out. But it just irritates me, and it's not so much the money side of things. Like obviously he did cost me a lot of money, like we spoke about a minute ago. But it was the main thing is it's just like he's just taken away from my legacy and my foundations. Like I should have really been going into this next fight, looking at another fight with fight the night performance against Mike that I didn't perform well, and I still took it to a close split, and then a solid win and maybe a performance bonus against a veteran Alan Patrick, and I could be looking at another fight. I'm really looking to start really growing my roots and to really start the climbing. Whereas now I'm in a weird place because I don't know whether to stay, like I've stabilized my foundations in the UFC, or I don't know whether to still be looking for that clear win. Like I'm sort of like don't really know where I am, and like obviously it's easy to say like we spoke about earlier. Yeah. But you've had two good fights. The UFC's gonna want it, but it's not about that. Like the UFC are a business at the end of the day, and they're gonna negotiate hard, and to come into negotiations with them with a fight night loss and a no contest just doesn't really ring any bells. Like for me, the way I'm trying to set my life up is that I earn money outside of fighting so that I don't actually need to fight. So when I want to fight, I can use the purse to pay for my corner and pay for different things. And I haven't got to worry about fighting for money. Like you see people in this sport who end up like moving their corners around, like what's his name? Mike Perry, where he has his girlfriend who can't afford his different corners and his camps and different things. Like I don't want to be in that position. So like I want to make sure that I'm stable outside of fighting, and I'm doing my best. But like things like this doesn't help. It doesn't help grow my image. Yeah. It doesn't help grow my record, and it doesn't help give me that reach to push into the top 20. Like I think my ranking's gone up by one place since the fight. I'm like, fuck you. Do you know what I mean? Like I was coming for a good performance, and I felt so good. I felt so good in there, and this was going to be my best performance so far, and I feel like it's been taken from me. But what can you do? Like at the end of the day, I've got a good management team. I've got a good coaching team. I've got some really good training partners here and in California, where I'm hoping to go back to soon. And you just go back, you reset, and you just focus on what's next.
You mentioned the Mike Davis fight there, and that's interesting to me. You said, I saw your post after the fight that you feel like you didn't perform. A lot of fighters say, their UFC debut. Was there a lot of pre-fight nerves going into that fight? Was there a lot of emotion because of, there was a big build, obviously, from Cage Warriors? No? You're just shaking your head there. Was it just a flat performance from you, in your opinion? Because I thought you performed great.
So, like, not an arrogant thing to say. I don't get nervous before I fight. Like, I've said this to you before. Like, I love every minute of it. Like, I never get nerves. Like, like, unless you see me on fight day and you see what it's like I remember I woke my coach up at 6 a.m. on fight day, and I was shadowboxing around the kitchen, and they're telling you to stop, and then I'm excited to get breakfast in, because I'm just like, I love fight day. I love the whole feeling of being able to just release and let everything go. Like, I don't really see the pressure. The only time I hate fight day is when you stood in the cage and you're looking at him, and you're opposite, and they're announcing you, and they're dragging it out. You're like, look, just shut the cage door and let me get to work. That's the only time when you really feel that sort of those nerves and stuff. But it's never like a nervous feeling. Like, I never feel my stomach drop or anything. I just feel like excited. Like, I feel chaotic. Like, I feel like everything's in flux, and like everything's at a decision point. And I love that feeling. Like that's the reason I used to skydive. That was the reason I used to ride motorbikes, and I used to do all this mad shit, was because I was always looking to chase that feeling. And for me, like, fighting is the only thing I really feel like I'm born to do. So yeah, the nerves weren't a part of it. Like, the whole thing with the Mike fight, like I said a few times, there's never an excuse. Like, I don't know how many times I quoted this now. I said it with the Derek Lewis quote against Stefan Struve, where he said, doesn't matter whether you perform at, if you feel 10% or you feel 100%, all that matters is you win. And like, in that fight, I felt terrible. I felt about 30-40%. My legs are heavy.
Wow.
I felt like I had no energy to push. I messed a little bit of my recovery up. We tried something new with the recovery with the PI, and I just didn't recover well. I felt like I hadn't recovered at all. And then, like, it was little things where I like messed parts of my training camp up, where I should have improved parts of my wrestling, where I was training a little bit wrong, like little parts of COVID. But again, like, all these are things that I suffered, that Mike would have suffered, that everyone would have suffered with the COVID sort of things. And they're all the things that they're amateur excuses to make. And like any excuse you come around and say, oh yeah, but I didn't feel good, or oh yeah, but I didn't recover well, or yeah, but my hands were too low, and oh well, the game plan didn't work out, so
saying that then is, that was the first loss of your pro career. Was that almost, a blessing? Because you, as you were saying there a few moments ago, you felt so good in the Alan Patrick fight. To get that first pro loss, does it spur you on? How does it feel? What were the emotions? Does it make you train harder? Because we often say it, it's always about how a fighter reacts after his first pro loss. And I think it was pretty bloody flawless, your performance against Alan Patrick, bar obviously that incident.
Mate, I've lost so many times, it's hard to keep count of. Like, I've gone to competitions when I was like 15, 16 that have like meant that I could qualify for European level tournaments, and ones I've done massive weight cuts for and prepared for months, and felt really good, and lost in 4 seconds. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I've lost more times than most people have ever given on the mats. Like, I've been doing this since I was 7 years of age. And like, when I say I feel no pressure when it comes to stuff like that, like, I really don't. And like, the whole thing where the loss, like I said before my debut, I wasn't coming in there with a 10 fight win streak. I was coming in with a 0-0 record. And now, like I said, I'm 0-1-1. And that's the way I look at it. Because all that matters in the UFC is a UFC record. Like, John Jones said it when they was on about all this the crap about the GOAT stuff, which I hate to get into. But he said, if you look at how many fights I've had in the UFC and how many title fights I've had in the UFC, my record is impeccable and flawless and levels above anyone else. And like, it is a good point. Like, if you look at the guys Habib fought before he made the UFC, he was fighting bums. Like, that's the easiest way to say it. He fought nobodies. And then he got into the UFC and he started fighting good level guys and beating good level guys. But it was like 8 fights or 7 fights before he made it to a title fight. And then he defended a few times and retired on top, which is all fantastic. But you can't really compare that to a guy who's defended or fought in or defended a title 9 or 10 times.
Yeah,
like that's why I don't like cross comparisons. It's like the whole thing of greats of the GOAT, greats of all time, and all that stuff. It just irritates me. Like you can call a great for a generation, that's fine. All good. You can call someone like the best in their weight division for their duration and different things, but comparing generations is just comparing a machine gun to a bow and arrow.
yeah. There's too many variables to throw in the mix. I totally agree with you. But right, you mentioned Alan Patrick there, and you said that he looked for a way out. I think that was sort of the general feeling. Did he look for a way out in the fight? Do you feel after that poke?
Man, it wasn't even after the poke. After the first exchanges, when I split his eye with that knee, or like the first minute or two in, like he was done. Like he didn't want to be in there. Like every time, but all you have to do is listen to his corner after round one, and his corner say to him, when they translate it, slow it down. We need you to focus on getting a takedown, and get it to the ground. And otherwise, we want you throwing kicks and spinning. It's like, well, what advice is that for 1, 2? And 2, like he literally had no clue with how to deal with me, because every time we exchanged, I kept the distance and I managed distance really well. Every time I hit him hard enough to snap his head back, or which I rocked him 3 times in it.
Yeah.
And then every time he sort of tried wrestling with me, I literally just crushed the life out of him, and then I managed to take him down. And his jiu-jitsu was non-existent. Every time I kept smart pressure, I didn't rush. And every time I hit him, I was putting an elbow into his left eye, which I'd split, and trying to rip it open wider. And like my whole intention was just to keep hurting him. And every time I hit him with an elbow, I felt him shudder. Like every time I connected well, I felt him shuddering underneath me. Like every time I hit him, I was hurting him. Like, because it wasn't like shots. I made sure I hit him with the full force of 180 pounds of force every single time I hit him. So for me, if I felt like he was a bleeding animal that was trying to flee, and I was just literally just cornering him and slowly tearing him apart, and just looking for that sort of finishing moment, and just didn't come. Obviously, before he found his exit plan. I don't really want to talk more about it because it irritates me.
Fair enough.
It irritates me not because of him finding a way out. It irritates me because, like I said before, there's no excuses in this fight game. I should have finished in round 1. I should have knocked him out to start round 2. I should have run the combinations. I shouldn't have let him back to his feet. I should have looked for a submission instead of just looking to beat on him. I should have taken his back. There's different things I could have done, different routes I could have done better. And letting him back to his feet wasn't one. Unless I wanted to look to his feet and step out, and I let him up, tried to base on his shoulder, and obviously we've seen where I slipped and touched his eye. So these are all mistakes you can't get away with, and I've been saying this for years, and I just still seem to be making stupid fucking mistakes sometimes.
I understand why you're hard on yourself, but I think it was a fantastic performance. It was so polished and so decisive for most of the fight. It was absolutely incredible, and I think you sort of felt as though you were putting on a really, really good show as well. But listen, he's called for a rematch a few hours after the fight on Instagram. I think it makes absolutely zero sense for you to go back down that route because of the dominant nature of the performance while the fight lasted. As you said, I think a finish was inevitable. Any interest? I have to ask you that question.
I'll fight anyone. If Sean wants me to fight him again, I'll fight him again. I hope they won't do that to me, because I don't think I'd go in there with a level head this time. I think I'd be going in there with the intentions of sort of splantering him up the side of a cage. But like, it all depends on what they want me to do. Like if that's what they want me to fight again, then yeah, fine. It's an easy win and an easy performance win. But I want to fight people who want to be in there. Like people like Mike, like fair play. Mike caught me with a lovely shot and broke his thumb in that fight, and still finished the round with an explosive finish with a broken hand. Like that's the type of people I want to be fighting. The people who were in there and want it as much as I do. And like I still felt if I performed, I would have totaled Mike. I still do. And as much respect I got for him, I still think I should have murdered him. But there's things don't plan out the way you want it to plan out. And all that matters, like I said, is focusing and improving. And I'm just going to be as harsh as I can on myself and spend these next few weeks when I'm back out of isolation. Obviously, I'm in isolation at the moment after
Traveling.
get back, focus on improving, and then I'm going to be going back out to Sacramento and getting a good, decent camp in before my next fight comes up, whenever it is.
Cool. Yeah. Did Dana White or Sean Shelby speak to you after the fight? Did you have any words with them?
No, I did ask to see Sean on the way out, whether that would have been a good thing or not. Dana wasn't there when my fight went on. I don't think he was there for the entire fight, the card. But I would have liked to have spoke to Sean on the way out. Not because I have a good relationship with Sean, but I just like to have a little chat with these people before I leave. But yeah, no, the only words I've said to Dana so far is I shook his hand for the Mike Davis fight face to face, the face-offs at weigh-in, and the only thing I spoke to Sean about really is he told me off after the Mike Davis fight because I didn't want to go to hospital. So
it's fair enough.
Yeah, he showed.
Speak to me about that. I saw your video. You've a vlog series, and guys, check that out on your YouTube, Mason's channel. And you mentioned Leon's tweet as well up there. Did you get paid your win bonus after the Alan Patrick fight?
No, unfortunately I didn't. They unless Dana's still going to pay me. So far, he hasn't paid. I don't get a win bonus for no contest, and even though I felt like I was in total control and winning, unfortunately it just doesn't really work out that way. So I did speak to Uriah after it, and Uriah dropped Dana a message as well, and I think my manager was going to drop Dana a message as well, but I haven't really heard anything back, and I'm not really on text in terms with Dana at all. I think that's top 20 fighters only. So yeah, it doesn't look like I'm going to get my win bonus, and especially like obviously people don't realize that fighting in Vegas, you pay Vegas tax as well on your purse, which is 30%. And obviously, I'm an entry-level fighter, so yeah, I didn't really get paid much. But like I said, I don't really do this for the money. Like, obviously, everyone wants to drive around in fancy cars, and my car here is scrap money. But it was looking at one point that I wouldn't have really covered my camp fees going out to Cali with my purse money. And then, thank God, I've got a good management team in intensity management, and they were really upset about my fight going the way it did, so they waived my management fees as well. So it's something I'm really thankful about, and I can't really give them enough credit for it. So yeah, lucky enough I should really cover my expenses, but put it this way, I haven't paid my coaches yet, and I don't think I'm really going to be paying them much, but they don't care. They know as well as I do that they're in it for the long term. And they like the money's nice for them, but it's not their full time income at the time. So it is what it is.
Like, you know, it's sort of, we've been talking about this for years, you know, in the media and in the mixed martial arts world about, you know, how little the guys get paid. And even Leon Edwards, I saw you shared Leon's post, as I said there earlier on. You know, do you ever feel like something's going to be done about the pay brackets in the UFC and the promotion until we get, you know, the union talk for years? We can talk about that all day, but something sort of needs to be done about situations like this, in my opinion. You guys are putting your life on hold for 3-4 months of the year. As you said to me there a few moments ago, you get a week off, you're back in training, you're back dieting. It's 24/7, 365 days a year for you, and you're struggling to even pay your coaches. Like, it's pretty fucking insane, in my opinion. Something that always angers me. And just sort of hearing it from you, talking off air about it, like, something needs to really give in the next couple of years, especially the UFC with the sponsors coming in, you know, ESPN. I think the eyes on the sport in the last 12 months over COVID have even got bigger and bigger and bigger. There's more sponsors, there's more money coming in. The fighters definitely need, you know, a minimum pay bump once you get into the UFC. It's crazy, in my opinion. Is there anything you envisage or see being done in the next sort of 12 months to change this, or anything at all? Like, because it's just batshit crazy, dude, at this point.
See, I've got weird views on this. Like, of course, I'd love to be paid a lot more. Of course, like, where there's 100 and I think there's less than, I think there's 90 lightweights in the UFC, or 90 something.
It's a big roster, yeah.
But that's in the whole world. Do you know what I mean? Like the world population, they sign anyone from all over the world. So we're less than 0.5% of the population, less than that, loads less than that. We're like so elite, it's unbelievable. And like obviously, of course, I would love to get paid more, but I just, after being in pro boxing for the short period I was and seeing some of the stuff that went on behind the scenes, um, I really don't want UFC to become like pro boxing
Yeah.
is, like the way they just manipulate things and the way they treat fighters. Because there's a bottom tier fighter who at one point, like I remember one of the cards I did for boxing, I sold like 7 or 8 thousand pounds worth of tickets, and they didn't even have the decency to tell me that the show was cancelled
Oh my
on
God.
fight week when I was cutting weight. The only reason I found out was before going to weigh-ins, and obviously turning up and being no weigh-ins, was a friend of mine was a reporter who called me and told me, and he was literally like 2 days out from weigh-ins, and it didn't even get press released until the day of weigh-ins. So we would have been on the way to cutting weight before they'd even found anything out. So like the way the UFC treat their fighters with the PI and the services they render, the aura rings, the level of support available there, the way they look after medicals, fighters, the way they look after us in the bubble and the isolation things, the kit they give us, the way they handle transportation and stuff, is just elite. Like, I've been to Bellator cards and I managed to walk backstage at a Bellator event with no pass. And I was walking past Chris Cyborg and some of the other ones by literally just walking through with a group of boys I knew who were fighting. You try doing that UFC event, you're probably going to get tasered and dragged out.
No, true.
I mean, like,
true.
like the UFC are doing the right things. It's just obviously I'd love to get paid more, and I'd love to be paid what my worth is. But the way I compare it is sorry, when I was 15 or 16, sorry, and I was leaving school, I started judo full time, and the judo program wouldn't let me on as a funded athlete unless I stopped doing the MMA stuff on a Thursday night and a Friday day. So they said, look, you got to be here for the full week. And I said, look, I can't. I'm doing my MMA stuff on it's our MMA sparring day for Friday, and I'm doing stuff Thursday night. I was like, I don't want to stop doing that. So they wouldn't pay me. So I spoke to my dad, who was really well connected with the company, and said, look, can you get me sponsorship to do it? And he said, look, if you want more money, he said, you need to find a way to make more money. He said, this thing of handouts, he said, I'm not going to give you money. He said, if you want more money, he said, you find a way to make money. And that's the way it is. Like, this is the reason I'm doing the YouTube stuff. This is the reason I'm trying to start a company.
Yeah.
This is the reason I'm trying to push my sponsorship stuff up and the way I want to make money sponsorship. Because, like, I've said to you earlier, I do not want to be worried about fighting to make days meet and worrying about purse. And, like, this would be a problem if fighting was my only income, but I've got 2 good sponsors who are helping, 3 good sponsors who are helping me out. I've got different things. Like, if I wanted to and I didn't want to go back to Cali, like, money this wouldn't have bothered me at all. But it's the fact I did a camp in Cali and the fact I'm looking for another one. That's the only thing that bothers me. So I've lived a little bit above my means. Did some decisions that would have worked out if I had my my win bonus money.
Yes.
So I took a little bit of a gamble. It didn't really work out, and that's all part of making money. Do you know what I mean? So yes, I'd love for us all to get paid more, but no, I don't want to do it if it comes with little backhanders and they start treating us like they do with the boxers, because the undercard fighters are going to be treated a lot worse. And like,
definitely.
the money is decent. Like the money is good. Like, obviously it's a growing sport, and the UFC do have a patent on it, and the UFC are controlling the wages of fighters. Like, they're just facts. But UFC is still the only company I want to fight for. UFC, the way they handle everything, is still the only way I want to be handled. So yes, of course, I'd love to get paid more, but I'd also love to win the lottery. And I'd
So
also
would I,
love
mate.
to,
So would I. It'd be nice
be
on sunny
given a
days
lovely
like
mansion and lovely cars and a Tesla and flights for the rest of my life and Nando's black card. But these are all things I got to earn and all things that I can't just be given. So I'm just going to go in there and start knocking people out, and I'll get paid more money. That's the best way to look at it. Just knock people out and get paid more money.
It's going to come anyway. You know, you'll get those bigger paychecks because you know, I think you're going right to the top in that lightweight division. You know, 100%. I think you're one of the best prospects that we talked about for a long, long time. To come from Europe in many a year. But listen, I have to ask you, I spoke to you there a few minutes ago. I think you're sort of in the cusp of the top 20, top 15. What's next? Is there an opponent there you have your eyes on, maybe around that sort of area? Because as I said to you, I think, maybe you don't see it personally, but I think everyone around the sport, including the media, the fans, think you're sort of coming off 2 wins, a lot of people, and an incredible performance, even though it ended unfortunately against Alan Patrick. But is there anyone that sort of tickles your fancy there, a name in that sort of top 15, 20?
Of course there is. But I don't have the win yet underneath me, so you can't start jumping the gun and calling out top 15 guys if you don't have anything underneath you to show why. I want a good weight win. Obviously, there's a London card coming up either in August or September. I don't know. I don't think it's been confirmed.
Yeah, the rumored date I think is 25th of September. UFC 226. I think they're doing it in London. That's the rumors that are floating anyway. Yeah.
So see, I heard September 4th, but we'll
maybe.
See. So whenever those dates is, I'm happy to go for that. I think that's where they want me to fight next. So they give me a good opponent. I'll flatten someone. I'm gonna go from there, and then I heard Cowboy's looking for one last ride, so I'd love to get a quick turnaround and fight Cowboy. It's someone I've always wanted to fight. I know he's coming back down to lightweight, and I met the guy in Vegas, and I'd love to share a cage with him. He's someone I always wanted to. So if I can get a good win underneath me, this is why I would have liked to have won this fight. Then one good win.
But you did really win it. Like, people are looking at that. You know, I'm telling you from an outside, you did really win it. I know, I understand. The UFC need to sort that out and give you your win money because, like, come on.
Hey, if you got Dana's
it was so
number,
dominant.
Drop him a text.
I do actually. I've never texted him, but I have his number. I'll give you his number. I'll forward it on to you after this interview. Not a problem at all. I'll forward it on to you. WhatsApp it to you in a few minutes. You can let us know how you get on.
WhatsApp me, hi Dana. We've met once for 5 seconds when I shook your hand once. I just slapped the Brazilian round for 2 rounds, and then you decided to run away from me, and you've taken half my purse. Would it be any consideration that you give me the rest, please?
Well, they should have
originally. See that going down well.
But yeah, I don't think you should be really having to ask for that because it was obviously an unfortunate set of circumstances. But listen, a phenomenal performance, and I think that Cowboy fight would be amazing. Sort of a crossover of the guard. The young guy, 26-year-old Mason Jones, coming up fighting Cowboy on his last fight. What better way to do it? That's one I absolutely think would be an absolute barn burner. But listen, my man, enjoy that sun, enjoy your dieting, and I do appreciate the time. It's always great to catch up with you. I do appreciate the time, Mason.
Mate, I gotta get this weight off. I ballooned a bit during isolation, so we need to get back down to it and get back training. So obviously I'm still in isolation, so I can't really get back to anything properly. But I'm getting ready to start back training. So I'm out of isolation on Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. Tuesday day, isn't it? Yeah, Tuesday day. Wednesday or Thursday, I don't know. But I'm out soon, so as soon as my calendar tells me I can go out, I'll be back training and we can start getting ready for this next fight. But I appreciate you having me on, and it's always a pleasure to talk to someone like you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And go on, Wales, in the Euros. Let's have it. We're supporting them. We're supporting them because we've no one else in it. we've no one here. We don't even want to be in it. We try not to qualify because we're so bad.
My brothers will be screaming the house down, and the TV will be shaking, and everyone will be in here screaming and jumping around, and I'll just be sat there with looking disappointed, shaking my head like just want to sleep.
Mason, appreciate the time, my man. Looking forward to seeing you get back in there.
Thank you very much. You have a good day. Speak to you soon.
Thanks for checking out the video. If you want to see more videos like this, do hit the subscribe button and also the notification button so you don't miss any future updates. You can also catch us on social media and also give the video a thumbs up. It does help. Thanks, guys.